Yo, what is popping, guys? We are back on Pokemon Showdown for NPL Week 2, facing our good buddy Trevor, aka T Daddy YouTube, as he goes by for this season. Like he has a second channel where he uploads the NPL season on his main channel. He only uploads vlogs as of now, so yeah, definitely go and check out this channel if you want to see his insight on the team. Trevor is one of our division opponents, very good friend of mine. I know the dude for like over 2 years now. We talk like pretty much every day or every other day, and like we know each other fairly well when it comes to building and playing, obviously. So definitely gonna be two very hype matches this season um, between the two of us, and yeah, like this match shouldn't be any different. I like don't upload the team builder this week because I don't want to reveal my spreads and my sets that I brought. So I will only cover my team more quickly because I don't want to reveal some stuff for our matchup in week 11 or something when we play again, and that might be like important for playoff seeding or something. So I'm definitely not I'm not going to reveal my godly spreads, especially on my Zard, because my Zard spread was pretty interesting. I'm definitely um, I'm very inclined to bring it again. Same with some other spreads that I have on my squad. So I bring Diddy Zard, Toxic Spikes, three attack, three attacks Gram, Terrible Mana Fee, more bulky than offensive, but speedy though. So, Rapid Spin Fortress, obviously, Stealth Physical Nido King, and AV Register. Looking at my opponent, I figured he would bring like a team that looked kind of like this. I didn't expect really Virizion, but besides that, like I knew God of War was coming. I knew Terrakion was coming because like fighting rock coverage just destroys my team. I don't really have description for it. Yes, obviously Nido can resist both stabs, but it's blown back by Earthquake, so that's not a description. Um, Swampert obviously was coming because of like his best Zard check. Um, Trevor also has Mantine, but he knows that I will capitalize on Mantine being his only hazard removal. And he knows that I would bring hazard setters that beat Mantine 1 vs 1, so he just felt like not bringing it at all and tried to prevent hazards for as long as possible, if possible. That's also the reason why I didn't bring his Dragon Knight. Well, Dragon Knight is very solid versus my team. It just sucks that he didn't draft solid removal around it, and like when he doesn't bring Mantine, he can't bring Dragon Knight basically. So that's something I really wanted to capitalize on. I felt like as long as I keep my rocks up, versus Team Dragon Knight would never be a threat. So yeah, Magnus only obviously one of his ways to revenge Manaphy. I expect either a Scarf variant, a very bulky Specs variant, or an AV variant. Like I wasn't sure throughout the entire game. The reason I didn't really expect could be a setup variant with Carmine or Sword Stance, but I felt like I was pretty much pretty much prepped for it. Didn't really feel like that was a threat. And obviously a Celesteela would come. Like some Leech Seed Earthquake thing probably. Maybe 3 attacks, maybe Protect or Toxic or something. Didn't feel like he would bring offensive Celesteela because like defense, or especially defensive Celesteela, is a very solid check to Mana Fee. Especially if he packs the Energy Ball, I can't do some substitute shenanigans or something if I wanted to do that. So yeah, I knew that was coming too. So um, looking at the matchup, I feel like Zard can win this game pretty much easily if I get up my Toxic Spikes with Granite and wear down the Swamp. But if I get to +1, I basically sweep his entire team. But I have to be at a solid amount of health to blow some stuff back with the Flare Blitz unless I want to die from recall. So definitely have to play around that. But if I keep rocks off the field, I can easily or I feel like I can easily sweep with Zard. Fortress basically gets a rapid spin versus everything because I'm Ockerberry. So if I keep it nice and healthy, like at 50% or something, or even 40%, I basically have a free spin unless he packs Flamethrower on Celesteela, which I don't think he would. I really expect Earthquake, Heavy Slam, Energy Ball coverage because that hits basically my entire team for solid damage, and stuff like Fortress can just be leech seeded, and Celesteela just annoys the thing out of Fortress anyway, and Fortress can't beat Celestina in any way possible. So yeah, but Fortress still can get off easy spins versus stuff like Terrakion, which I threaten out with the Gyro Ball if it's a setup variant, especially gets off a spin versus Swampert, because Swampert doesn't do too much. Mostly specially defensive, so even a Scald would do like 28, 35%, like something around that. Virizion can never 2-KO me or 3-KO me even, depending on the set. Terrakion obviously I can always live any one hit or any two hits depending on the set. And Gardevoir, because I'm Ockerberry, I can like just spin on that too. So that's nice. So if I keep rocks up on his side and keep rocks away from my side, I'm very inclined to say that I would win this game with Charizard. So I will lead off with my Greninja because I want to get up the Toxic Spike as soon as possible, because like rocks don't really pressure his teammates. Like 1, 2, 3, 4 resists to rocks. So while rocks are nice, Toxic Spikes are like way more important to win on the Swampert, win on the Virizion, prevent any one of his non-steel types to from getting up a substitute on me and like be annoying or something like that, and like just gets like very necessary chip off on especially the Swampert and the Virizion, which is always nice to have. Like Virizion, obviously one of the few checks to Manaphy, and like Toxic Spikes would help me wearing it down. He leads off with his Virizion, which is a very good lead for him. He knows I can't knock him out even if I'm like Specs Ice Beam. I need it to be HP Fly or something, which I definitely won't be. So I can't stay in here. I go into my Nidoking because it can't take any 2 hits from this set. Even if it's like a Bloom Doom plus Giga Drain or something, I can still live that probably. But he goes for the Taunt turn 1, which I found very interesting, because if I dual Ice Beam there, he just goes down and loses his Virizion. Or if I Ice Beam, he drops to less than 50%, and like he has to play around from that, or sack his Virizion on turn 1. Like he said he wanted to prevent me from getting up more than 1 layer if I were a Sash variant, which I understand, but I don't think Virizion for only 1 layer of spikes or something is a good trade in my opinion. I didn't really agree with that, but it definitely worked out, especially now that he taunts my Nidoking, which is pretty much annoying. But I decide to double out back into my Greninja, knowing that I scare him out with the Poison Jab or Sludge Wave, obviously, and now it's Terrakion versus versus Greninja, and like I don't really want to stay in. I go back into my Nidoking, like trying to see if he's Scarf. Like if it's a Scarf variant, I'm like just basically sacking my Greninja, which I don't want to do. But I switch out into my Nidoking because like again, if he's Scarf, he has to lock himself into close combat or Stone Edge to knock out Greninja, and Nidoking can take 2 of those hits any day of the week. So that's kind of nice. I outspeed though on the Switch, so I know he's not a Scarf variant, which is very interesting, because looking at his team, like Scarf Terrakion was like, I felt like it was the only mon he had on his team to revenge a +1 Charizard. Like he didn't bring any mon that could revenge a +1 Zard, and like that was very interesting. Knowing that turn 3 is crucial information. Even though like now I'm like losing all the momentum because Big Buddy Celesteela is coming in on Nidoking, but knowing that Zard will outspeed Terrakion is huge. I like just need like 25% of damage off or something to kill with the +1 Dragon Claw, maybe like even less. I don't remember the calc. We actually played like this on the same day on which I played my week 1, because Trevor was leaving for vacation in week 2. So yeah, we played kind of early, but I still like remember most of the game, I feel. So this thing comes in here. I know I can take any 2 hits from it because I'm fairly bulky and I can set up my rocks here. I goes for Leech Seed, which is fine, but now I will just go out into my Fortress and like try to get a slow Voltage out of there to prevent him from spamming Leech Seed. But he makes a play and doubles out into, or like not doubles out, but switches out into his Terrakion, predicting me to maybe fire off a Flamethrower or something. Pretty aggressive switch, because like if he lets his Terrakion get weakened, he's basically revenged by any mon on my team, like, and can't really do too much damage. So like even if I fire off a Poison Jab there, I would do like 35% to it. If I fire off a Thunder Punch or Ice Punch, I do almost 50, I think. to uninvested Terrakion, which is pretty interesting. Like that he was willing to let me get a big hit off on Terrakion, but it worked out for him because now I'm in with my fortress, and usually like as I already said, my initial switch into this Terrakion was the Nidoking. Like because I can't take any 2 hits, but I really want to scout for a set, and I didn't feel like what's it called, like getting my Nidoking too much weakened, because it's still a solid check to the Virizion, which is annoying. Can get off some nice chip with the Thunder Punch on the Celesteela, and it can stop Magnezone from Volt switching out. So definitely like a solid answer to most of his team, and I know Fortress can take any one hit. So I decide to stay in here as he goes for a close combat and gets a huge crit on me as I go for the Volt switch here. So maybe I should have Gyro Balled, but I felt like there was like no reason not to Volt switch, because even if he's like banded close combat, live or close combat, I know that I live the hit at like 30 to 40%, which means that I can always come in later and get a spin-off on stuff like Virizion, on stuff like Swampert, on stuff like Celesteela. Yeah, that I can always get a spin-off, obviously. Now I'm at 5% and I'm switching out with Volt, which means I will never get off a spin, and this is huge for my Zard. Like, now if he gets up rocks with his Swampert, my Zard is heavily pressured, and I'm forced to roost up on a lot of stuff, and don't really have as much room to set up on some stuff like that. Coming in on 50% prior to Mega Evolving, or at like 75% after Mega Evolving, means that stuff like Specs Magnezone can get like 40% off and like 2 KO me potentially. Like God of War can OHKO me if it's modest from 75. Celesteela can 2 KO me from 75 with the Earthquake, which is annoying, and like I'm always forced to roost up, giving him the momentum, and that is huge. Like now if he gets up his rocks, yeah, my Zard is like way too much pressured, like way more pressured than it should be. So definitely a very unfortunate crit, as you will see it will come into play later. So get the voltage off, which is nice damage. He's now in range for +1 Dragonclaw, and I can go into my Nidoking here and fire off. What do I go for? I think I fire off a Thunder Punch or an Ice Punch. Yeah, I go for an Ice Punch because it covers both him staying in, going for another close combat, putting him in range for guaranteed every attack on my team, covers the Celesteela for the neutral damage, and covers also the Swampert switch in or the Virizion switch in on potential like expected Earthquakes, as both take neutral or super effective damage respectively. Ice Punch does a solid amount, 23% to Celesteela. Now I know he's specially defensive, max HP obviously, but not physically defensive, which is good to know. Has the lefties, which is expected. I think I fire off a Thunder Punch here, as he goes into this Terrakion. So he lets his Terrakion get weakened, doing the same plays here, and now I make another, like now I make a misplay here, not knowing that he was banded, and I still felt like Nidoking was very solid versus Virizion. Pressure still with Thunder Punch. Now that I revealed it, can pressure like, or can revenge the Swampert at least, means that God of War can never get a free switch in, stops Magnezone from Volt switching, etc. I felt like saving it, even though I'm a Sugar Berry variant. I should have probably stayed in here and like just get rid of the Terrakion. I kind of at this moment I kind of underestimated the Terrakion play, because I also like I calced 2 Scarf close combats on Nidoking and knew, yeah, I was living, and then like for like the moment I switched out, I was like, oh fuck, he's banned, I totally forgot, and like Nidoking's 2 hit KO. So after I sacked my fortress here, which I'm forced like, or which like can never take 2 Earthquakes at all from from this range obviously, or like even 1. Like after that I can't really switch on banded close combat anymore, which is pretty much stupid. So Terrakion hits me with the Earthquake. I take that as an opportunity to go into my Manaphy and set up a table. I know that he won't stay in because Earthquake will do like 35%. If he goes hard into his Magnezone, maybe I should have scalded here, because I knew that he had still Magnezone Virizion in the back to potentially revenge me. Maybe I should have scalded to gauge the damage that I will do potentially see if he's AV or not, and like go from there. So he goes Mag. The way he brings it in, it's like it's Stream Scarf or AV. Still don't know which of those it is. And like I want to cover every play on this turn. There's no reason to stay in and get killed by like I don't get killed by a Thunderbolt from this range if it's Scarf actually, unless it's Scarf Analytic, which doesn't really make sense because he wants to trap my Registeel potentially and my Fortress. I felt like Mag and Pull was definitely the best option here on Mag. So I want to cover him going for T-Bolt or cover him like pivoting out on a Scald or like a Hydro Vortex, which I actually am this week, and like which means either Celesteela or Virizion are his best answers. So like if Magnezone is Scarf, he is guaranteed to like he has to Thunderbolt. He can't overpredict and go for Flash Skin or something. He has to go for the Electric move. And Nidoking covers that as well as Virizion coming in and Celesteela. Celesteela is actually 2 KO'd by Thunder Punch, or has a chance to be 2 KO'd by Thunder Punch after Rocks and all the shit. So if he Thunderbolts, I can fire off a Thunder Punch, predicting Celesteela to come in and go from there. So I switch out my Mana Fee. Still a big win con, no reason to risk it, as he makes the switch out into his Virizion. During the battle, I actually was 100% sure that Magnezone switched out before my Mana Fee until I like looked it up on turn 20, 25. So for like the next for the next 10 to 15 turns, I was sure Magnezone was Scarf, which kind of made me make some weird assumptions for the late game, or like made me like think in a wrong way, to say it correctly. So but that like it didn't really matter in the outcome. I like looked it up later, like 10 turns later or something, and knew I outspread him, so it's definitely not Scarf Magnezone, which led me to believe he's either a very bulky Specs variant that can potentially live a +3 serve, or an AV variant, which I feel like is a very solid amount on my versus my team versus Greninja and Manaphy, obviously. So we both cover here like all plays. Like basically he covers the Hydro Vortex with his Virizion, as I cover basically every play he could make. And yeah, Nidoking comes in. I fire off another Ice Punch here, I think, on his Virizion. Not trying to play around with it. As he goes into Swampert here. I know he will get up his rocks, nothing I can do about it. I go into my Greninja to now finally get up my Toxic Spikes. It took me 13 turns to get them up, and finally I actually can do that. Rocks will help my team very much. Like not having Fortress around. If I had Fortress at like 40%, I definitely would have stayed in earlier on the Terrakion, and like just killed it after taking the hit with the Sugar Berry, and then like kill it with Earthquake. But yeah, now like I knew that I would never be able to get off a spin anyway, so like I felt like Fortress was the sack right there. So yeah, Rocks Up is annoying, but I can go into my Greninja and fire off my Toxic Spikes here. It will pressure his team a lot. So Celesteela comes back in. Obviously, we'll get his lefties back. I can't really pressure that. I don't want to get up two layers of Toxic Spikes really, because like I don't feel I need it. I will just like much rather go for a Scald Burn here. I go for one Scald. Sadly, no burn. A burn would mean that I am always coming in with Zard on the Celesteela, and I can always roost up, because a burn Celesteela, I know he's uninvested because he's especially defensive or close to uninvested, obviously. And like a burn Celesteela does like 25% to my Zard set, and I can always DD up. I could potentially go to +6 on the Celesteela and like just blow his entire team back. So yeah, like burn Celesteela would be nice. That's why I'm fishing for the Scalp here. And like I felt the lead sheet was very obvious. Now my Zard comes in, as like he lead sheets again, which is a very smart play. I'm forced to roost on this turn, and as my opponent like doesn't play around here, doesn't want to stay in with the Celesteela and fire off an Earthquake, which I fully understand, because Celesteela still covers or still checks the Greninja and the Manaphy, both of which could be a very big threat. He goes hard into Swampert on my Roost, which is nice. He will get the leech sheet back, but he will lose some HP because of the Stealth Rock and the Toxic Bite, which is very nice for me. I now don't have a really good answer to the Swampert, because like Fortress, like which was my initial switch, and basically fire off Toxics or like just chip it down. Is down, but Greninja still comes in as he goes for Toxic, trying to maybe Toxic my Manaphy or my Zard here, but I can just fire off another Scald as he goes hard into his Gardevoir, which obviously is especially very bulky, so yeah. Gardevoir comes in, I have my hard counter in the Registeel, can never 2-hit Kaomi, not even with the Focus Blast, even if he's modest. You see this Thunderbolt does 15%, and he gets a Para. Doesn't really matter because I don't outspeed anything on my opponent's team unless he's like a relaxed Swampert, in which case I would outspeed, or a relaxed Celesteela. But besides that, I don't outspeed anything, so it's not like too big of a deal unless I get full Para. So yeah. Now on this next turn, I feel like he's kind of forced to switch out, and I think I make a double here into my Nidoking, if I remember correctly. Yeah, I switch out, and yeah, I go hard into my Nidoking, expecting him to either go into like Celesteela or like Celesteela, Swampert, Verizon, like any of those mons was possible, and I felt like Nidoking covers most of them. Also covers like my opponent going for a Hyper Voice. Like if he wants to stay and go for Hyper Voice or Focus Blast, he can just like take it with Nidoking and then go back to Registeel in order to like take on this Gardevoir if he wants to second. Now Verizon is in, it's Toxic, took some damage, which is super nice. He will be in range for, he already is in range for +3 Ice Beam, I would say, unless it's like specially defensive. He hasn't revealed anything on his Verizon besides Taunt at this point, because I always come in with Nidoking on it. And I just fire off another Ice Punch here on the incoming Swampert. The reason I didn't double out again into potential Manaphy on my Gren is because I feel like this Swampert guaranteed has Raw on it for like +1 Zard for Tailglow Manaphy, or for a Manaphy that wants to Tailglow upwards the Swampert. And like I feel like I didn't want to get rawed around or like Toxic by this Swampert with my Manaphy. So I just fire off an Ice Punch, trying to pave the way for my Charizard to potentially sweep in the late game, and that means I have to get rid of the Swampert. Swampert now obviously is in range for the what's called, for the +1 Dragon Claw, and like now it's not a threat anymore. It goes for the Earthquake. I eat my Sugar Berry, take 40%, so that's nice. I can now freely like kill the Swampert off with another Earthquake or the Ice Punch. Ice Punch actually was a roll to like 16% if he was 16% minimum if he was a max defensive set, but like I felt like going for the roll because it also covers Celesteela and Verizon coming in in case he wanted to save his Swampert as fodder. So back comes in the Terrakion, and now like had I saved my Fortress here earlier on the Terrakion, like just taking the Shuka hit with the Nidoking and then like revenge the Terrakion, I would have been in a better spot. I would have been able to spin potentially because Terrakion wasn't around. I could have spinned on the Swamp, but etc. But I felt like I had to sack my Fortress here, and now like Terrakion just can come in and finish me off with the close combat, which means I'm forced to go out into my Greninja, knowing that knowing that I have to, like knowing that that's the only mon that outspeeds the Terran who can revenge it. So I'm forced to Scald here, which is annoying. He has a bunch of potential sacks in the back. Goes into Gardevoir, suffer of a Scald, knocking it out. Toxic damage will wear down my Greninja, but still like is a solid revenge here. Now Celesteela comes in, and I feel like if I go for the Scald and get a burn on this Celesteela, I win the game right here because I can come into Zard, go for the Roost on the burn Celesteela, and then like just go for the Dragon Dance, and like basically I'm guaranteed to win the game with my Zard unless if I get the burn, unless he goes hard into Terrakion, which would have been a very fine play, but then Rocks plus Toxic would have put him at a point where he is forced to attack or double out again, in which case I could have just sacked him on like my Registeel or something to let Zard come in and win the game again, because like he's at 24%. If he would he double into Terrakion on my Zard Roost, he would take 18%, would be a 5% force to attack, and then goes down And like also rocks plus toxic spikes would put him in range for another round of stealth rocks, so that would have been a dead Terrakion. So if I get this Scald on here with this on the Celesteela, I'm guaranteed to win. I go for the Scald, second Scald of the game, I don't get burned, so that's unfortunate. Earthquake plus toxic will knock me out, so I like can't get the burn with Celesteela, which means I have a much harder time to win the game. Now I had a bunch of plays that I could have made. I could have gone into my Registeel and like fire off Thunder Punches, because Thunder Punch actually I think it would have done was a guaranteed 2-hit KO even after Leech Seed and Leftovers recovery here from the range. It was that because I'm actually in max attack on my AV Registeel. Excuse me, but I felt like Zard was my best player here, and in the sense that like I'm guaranteed to get a kill, which is nice. And depending on what you wanted to sack, Manaphy can potentially win the game later, or Zard can. Like if he decides to sack his Terrakion here, Zard can win the game. If he decides to sack his Virizion or his Magnezone, Manaphy can win the game easily. And like if he even if he sacks like Terrakion, Registeel has a solid shot at winning there. So I felt like Zard put the most pressure on my opponent. I could have, like, but like it put me in a kind of 50-50 spot, because I can either Roost now, either Dragon Dance up, which in my opinion is never the play because Earthquake just does too much to me. I would be playing around with crits and shit like that. So um, I'm kind of forced to Flare Blitz here, either Flare Blitz or Roost up, but I didn't want it to go for Leech Seed or something, and like yeah. Now Terrakion comes in after I kill the Celesteela, and like I feel like I kind of butchered the end game here. Like I didn't play the end game really well. Terrakion now gets 2 more hits off, which is super annoying. I feel like I have to um, like here I am still thinking like that's the problem. I'm still thinking that Magnezone is Scarf, and I felt like Zard in that case like doesn't outspeed anything on my opponent's team. So I decided to sack it off because I felt like Manaphy could potentially win the game if it's not an AV Magnezone. So Zard comes in, close Zard goes down to the close combat, and yeah, Terrakion, as I said, it should have been dead already, but obviously isn't. I go into my Registeel, like basically, I don't know, like now my opponent actually is trying to choke the game away, because he's actually gonna switch out, not realizing he's dead to rocks. He thought like Trevor said he thought Terrakion quad resist rocks and can take another round, which was very big mistake on his part. Like close combat into Virizion, into Magnezone, just win the game here, which is basically like I don't know why he didn't stay in, but he didn't, and like I was just like quickly clicking a move, like just thinking he was guaranteed to stay in. I want to click Ice Punch, but Ice Punch was directly next to Iron Head, and I kind of missed it. Iron Head. It doesn't really matter if he stays in because it just got down to his combat. But he goes into his version. Iron Head is 43. Ice Punch could have put him, if I get the max roll or a very high roll, could have put him in range for the poison damage. If I think the max roll was like 62% or something on the or like 60% on the version. If I get like 60% off, his 10% will just drop to the poison. In which case, my Registeel is guaranteed to win the game, which is kind of crazy. Because like Registeel then would have just hammer armed the Magnezone for big damage, like over 50%, and then Hydro Vortex for Manaphy guaranteed knocks it out. So if I don't misclick Iron Head here, I I had a very solid chance of winning the game, to say least. But now after him basically choking the game away, what I didn't realize is that Registeel is basically my win condition. I know that Virizion can take off can take out my Registeel if it's physically offensive with close combat and life orb or something. But like what I really should have done, knowing that like this Magnezone is probably AV. What I should have done was like going to Manaphy, sacking it basically, and then like win with Registeel. Because Registeel at 74%, even like after Rocks takes guaranteed 2 modest Thunderbolts from um, AV Magnezone, and I can like if I hit both my hammer arms and like break through para, I'm guaranteed to win the game, which is super crazy. But I make a mistake and stay in as my opponent actually goes for the all-out pummeling, revealing that he is a special variant. Just it doesn't even knock me out, so I can knock out the Virizion here. But now Magnezone comes in, can can fire off the Thunderbolt and revenge me. Like had I gone into Manaphy, I would have been in a great spot. Especially because after the game he told me he wasn't max speed version. He actually only had enough speed for max speed Nidoking, which I found very interesting. He just didn't bring anything to outspeed. Like he brought one Mon to outspeed Manaphy, and he brought no Mon to revenge +1 Trezor X. During this late game, after he tried to like choke the game away by switching out Terrakion, I was like kind of confused and I couldn't really think straight, and like I should have identified Register as my win con. Now Manaphy is in. I can, if he Scarf Timid, I like guaranteed live a Thunderbolt, but I looked at I scrolled up and I knew, oh wait, he's not Scarf, so I felt like he could potentially just go for the Volt Switch, or for the Thunderbolt, or for for the Thunderbolt obviously here. Scouting for like a Z move, he could have gone for into his Terrakion, because like if I think he specs Hydro Vortex has a chance to knock him out if he's uninvested, like if he's like a very speedy variant. Modest max HP, not like max HP, modest max special attack, and like a lot of speed investment. I can actually knock him out with the Hydro Vortex here, I think. And like if he wants to scout for it, his best play is to sack Terrakion and then like come back in, because then he takes any hit. So I decided to go for Tailglaw here because I also guaranteed live a Timid Thunderbolt if he for whatever reason wanted to bring Timid, and I can actually live a modest Thunderbolt if he ain't specs. It's a roll very much in his favor, but I can still live it. Like I think it does like 83 to what's called 83 to 94% or 92%. So definitely a roll in his favor, but or 84 to 94% or something. Was a roll in his favor, but if I live it, I can knock out even a V Magnezone potentially with the +3 Hydro Vortex, but I don't, which is unfortunate. Yeah, we lose the game 0-2 to Trevor. Definitely a very interesting game, very fun, but obviously like a very sloppy endgame on both our sides. I felt like he totally choked the game away, handed it over to me up by like switching out Terrakion. I just couldn't capitalize because for whatever reason I didn't identify Register as my win con, which was kind of stupid. Obviously luck was a factor in this game. I won't say it decided the game because it like just didn't. I still had a very solid amount of chances to win the game, but obviously crit on Fortress and me not being able to spin was like, it was huge. Like there's nothing else to say about that. Like it was really unfortunate on my side because like Rocks pressured Greninja and Zard so much. Greninja had limited switching after that, and Zard obviously could never abuse anything as set up for that unless I got a burn with Greninja. Obviously didn't get the burn on 2 or 3 scars. Because like that's how you roll. If you get unlucky, you don't get luck in your favor once if you need it. But that's fine. Like so, we're 1-1. Trevor is 1-1 after week 2. Definitely looks to be a very close and interesting division. Good game to Trevor. Finally beat me after 17 tries or something like this. I think it's the second win in the format versus me. We always have very fun matches, but usually I come out on top, and this time it was his turn. So good game, boy. Played it well. Brought a very interesting team. I like how he knew that I was trying to hazard stack him and like try to capitalize on that by like just bringing mons that aren't weak to rocks and like aren't pressured too much by toxic spikes. Obviously, they came in pretty handy, as you have seen. Like the Swampert and the Virizion, even the Terrakion, like they just like were pretty much annoyed by toxic spikes. So yeah, that's the game. I like not really like worried or anything. Like I knew where I did misplay in this game. Was like made a bunch of misplays, but I felt like obviously we both did. I like um, usually I don't make as many misplays as I did in this week, but it's fine. So like it happens, and like it's a learning experience. It's a new team, a lot of months that I haven't used yet, and like I'm like, very much looking forward to my next battles. After this week, I actually dropped Nidoking and my Sigilyph for reunit class and Skuntank because I felt like I really wanted a little bit more of a little bit more bulk. Didn't like it wasn't dependent on this game if I win it or lose it, but I felt like reunit class gives me some very nice options in my division. I really felt like Nidoking wasn't as needed because I have a lot of special breakers on my team that can do the job like just as well, and I have enough rockers and T spikers to like make up for Nidoking. Obviously is like a big presence in like team preview and like force my opponent to prep a certain way, but so is Rio Nicholas. So like I'm not too worried. Skuntank obviously gives me another defogger, a nice pursuit trapper, nice poison type, and like I felt like even though like I really want to use Sigilyph, I felt like um, I wanted to like I was never bringing it because I have so much special breakers. Like Life of Sigilyph hits incredibly hard, but never as hard as Life of Nidoking, for example. Never as hard as Life of Reuniclus that I could bring now. Never as hard as Telgon Manaphy, obviously. Never as hard as Specs Grand. So yeah, where was the point? I'm definitely gonna draft it at some point again, but yeah, just wasn't the type of mon I wanted him um, in this season. And obviously, I also dropped Kangaskhan for Stunfisk after week 1, which should be out. So next week, we are facing Alpha and his Rocky Mount Marowak, our third divisional opponent. He started 2-0 into the season, so definitely one of the contenders in my opinion, a very solid player, a guy I respect a lot, and should be fun. So if you enjoyed this video, leave a like and a comment if you did, and yeah, catch you in the next video. See ya.